Welcome to the Fall 2024 New Jersey Film Festival Filmmaker Q&A series. Today we have a wonderful filmmaker who's made an amazing film called All You Need Is Blood, and his name is Cooper Roberts, and we're going to be talking to him for the next half hour or so about his movie, which will be getting its premiere in New Jersey at our festival. And before I introduce him formally to you and to our guest, Morgan Kalmbach, as well, I wanted to let you know our Fall 2024 Film Festival is the 43rd biannual. I founded this festival back when I was a graduate student at Rutgers University, and it's grown into this monster. And I guess that's a kind of good word since we're going to be dealing with monsters and ghouls and zombies, talking about Cooper's movie. But our festival will be taking place on select Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays between September 6th and October 18th. We are a hybrid festival still. COVID has kind of changed the dynamics of film festivals. So we still make our films mostly available online as well as in person. And we're going to be doing both for Cooper's film. And it's going to be screening on Saturday, September 14th, online for 24 hours and in person at 7 o'clock. And it should be a lot of fun. Welcome, Cooper. Hi, Morgan.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having
Morgan,
me. Thanks.
Morgan was one of the festival jurors, and she helped select Cooper's film. And I wanted her to be here to talk to you because she's also a filmmaker. And since your film is all about making films, it's a period film that's set during the time when VHS videos were popular. And it's an homage in some ways to Night of the Living Dead, since it is a zombie film. Cooper, tell us how you decided to make this movie.
Um, well, it started off as a very different movie, not a zombie movie at all.
Hmm.
And through just practical limitations and the creative process, it just totally evolved into something else.
Hmm.
And it started, I think it started off as like a ghost alien movie. And then I realized aliens are too expensive. So it kind of landed on zombies, sort of as a practical way to work with the budget I have. Because I thought they'd be easier, which turns out zombies are not that easy or cheap as I had imagined. When you get into contact lenses for zombies, it's really complicated and tricky to get them right. So yeah, there are practical considerations, but yeah, really, I just fell in love with this main character and his story, and it never really felt like a zombie movie. I never look at it as a zombie movie, actually. To me, it's more of a coming of age story about this kid, and there just happen to be zombies in it.
I think that's very true because we're
Yeah.
focused on Bucky and he's trying to make a movie that'll get into a festival. So I love the sequence where you have the rejection letters all pinned to the wall.
Yeah.
It's something I think every filmmaker can relate to. And it is a film about filmmaking as well, though, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like the archetypical young filmmaker that I could relate to in my early teens, and I think a lot of us could.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Morgan, you're a young filmmaker as well. Any parallels to the work that you're doing that you saw in Cooper's film?
Yeah, I feel like I really related to like just the simplicity of like having like a camera, recruiting your friend and being like, okay, we're gonna shoot this and this. And I feel like when you're like a young filmmaker, like the sky is the limit. Like whatever you really want to create, you can create just with like what you have. And I feel like I really saw a lot of myself in Bucky the main character because just like his determination and like just the simplicity of like I'm gonna make a movie and I'm gonna recruit my friend and he's gonna be a zombie, you know? But yeah, I really felt like a connection and it's like a similarity.
Nice.
How did you get Mina Suarvi to be in your film? I mean, she's great.
Um,
She's great as the I think she's a parody of herself. It's really wonderful. Tell us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The casting process was really interesting. It was my first time casting a movie,
Hmm.
and we worked with a great casting director who had a lot of good relationships. And yeah, you just kind of the producers they like to make films with recognizable faces. So that was kind of the first thing they said to me when we first met, is we want to get some sort of recognizable faces in this. So we start to look at who we can afford, and who might be willing to go in a movie like this, and you make offers. And Mina just was super cool, and she was into the script and was willing to do it. We were thrilled to have her. She was so great to work with, real professional.
I think the entire cast is really quite wonderful. And I thought, first of all, I wanted to ask you, Bucky LaBeouf also directs this film. Is that a real person, or is that kind of a spoof?
Yeah, it's a spoof.
So he's your alter ego. This is Bucky LaBeouf was you when you were a young man making films like this.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, I find it fun and funny to credit the movie to him. So my name's hardly on the movie. It's totally a Bucky movie.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that, because I thought that's what you wanted. It's a kind of way to cloak yourself. And yet at the same time, you're not really sure if this is a film that maybe Bucky did make later on when he became a big time filmmaker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell us about Emma Chase. She's really great too.
Oh yeah. She was amazing. This was her first professional acting job ever.
Wow.
So she had never been on a real film set before. And I thought she did amazing. She was pretty nervous the first few days, just because if you've never been on a film set before, it can be kind of intense.
Yeah, sure.
And she's I think it was kind of eye-opening. She's learning, you gotta hit these, not only do you have to perform as an artist, but you got to think about, marks, and am I looking at the camera? There's so many technical things. And once she got the hang of that, she was just incredible. I was thrilled with her performance. So she felt like she was a bit of a discovery.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully she'll get some other roles, because I think she's really, really talented. You can't take your eyes off of her. I think she's got a real great screen presence. And, Logan too, Logan Bruner, I think as the chemistry between them evolves as the film moves forward. And I think, I wondered about how you found him.
Yeah, through the casting director knew him as a local New York actor and highly recommended him. And really, his audition tape was just amazing. He just kind of nailed the character that I was imagining. And I was like, oh, okay, there's Bucky.
He was very comfortable in the role. Morgan, go ahead. I'm stealing all the questions.
It's okay. I was wondering, for a movie like this that has like zombie plots and stuff, obviously there was a lot of gore and like makeup and stuff required. I was wondering if you could talk about your experience with like working with like kind of like special effects and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that stuff was so fun. And super expensive too. It's cheaper to do things with VFX in some cases these days, like blood splatter and all that stuff. But
yeah,
I love the look of the practical gore. So I really wanted to try to make it happen all practically. And it's just, it's a matter of just finding like really good practical FX people. And we had an amazing team, really cool team in Canada who built some of the prosthetic suits, and great guys out of Pennsylvania who handled all the gore, blood explosions. But yeah, it was so fun. Brain Dead was a big, do you know Brain Dead, the old Peter Jackson zombie film?
Yeah, sure.
That was a big inspiration for all the practical gore.
Well, there's so many references to movies, other movies. I mean, I saw everything from 2001 as part of your opener, Quest for Fire, Alien, the Alien series, and The Strange Meteor, something like It Came from Outer Space, and all these other, 50s horror movies, not really horror, science fiction movies more than that. So,
yeah.
And even the reference to Spartacus, the turtle. I mean,
yeah,
had some Kubrick in there too. So I think, it's a film about movies and movie making, very meta, as one of the judges wrote. And I wanted to read you some of the comments that some of our judges wrote, because it's a way to give you feedback and also to tell our audience, you got to come and see this movie because the judges really liked it. This was by one of our female jurors. She wrote, really funny and amazing special effects. So I think the special effects came off really well. Matt let's see, who is this? This is a guy, great cinematography and effects, especially during the ending sequence. Another gal wrote a love letter to schlocky horror films, gallons of fake blood, some really good energetic performances, genuinely funny with some heartfelt moments, a really fun watch. And then this person wrote, the colors and cinematography were super cool, and the way filmmaking was utilized within the script was super interesting. So that's just a little bit. There were a few other comments, but they, we score from 0 to 10, and films that on average score 7s or higher usually get shown as official selections. And the scores for these judges were not 2 9s, an 8, and a 7.5. So you're way ahead of that. It was one of the films that we knew we were going to show pretty early on. So kudos to you and your team.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Morgan,
Yeah.
Morgan, ask away, because I don't want to hog all of the.
It's okay. On the topic of the final sequence,
Mm.
I was wondering like what was like your inspiration for that? I feel like it was a really cool way of just finally like all like this gore and action. Like I felt like it was really building up until that final point. And I was like, yeah, like they're finally going after it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you talking about like the very, very
Yeah, yeah,
I
like
don't
the,
Well,
want to
don't give
give
it
away
away either.
I won't give it
spoilers.
away. I won't give it away.
I don't know if there's anything specific that inspired that I can remember. I'm sure there's subconscious influences, but it was really just like I don't know. I thought it was a really cool visual representation of how far this character's come along and how much he's changed since the beginning of the film.
So
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, nothing else to say about that. Just hard to talk about it without spoiling it.
It's also a
Just
film
got
about
you got
family too. I mean, we're showing a couple of films that deal with family dramas. I just did a Zoom with a little family drama, which is a film about a Mexican American family going through trials and tribulations. This one's a little bit different. It's about bonding between the father and the son. The mom, I think it is a kind of nuclear story, a nuclear family story, and about bonding
totally. Yeah.
between the father and the son. And we have the other character, Bucky's friend, and the relationship between him and his mom. I mean, was Night of the Living Dead an influence on the film? I mean,
To be honest, I've never seen it.
wow. Because I
Yeah.
teach it, and I thought, wow, this is very similar, and there's a lot of parallels between the two. And I think there's moments of incest that are suggested, and it's really kind of interesting. The layers of your film and the fact that you didn't see it makes it even more interesting. So
Oh, interesting. I gotta watch it. See what the
yeah,
parallels
yeah,
are.
the
Like
original. You got to watch the original one. That's the best one.
oh, nice. Yeah, some of my influences this may be a little surprising, like Singing in the Rain
Mm.
was a big influence, believe it
Wow.
or not, because that's a film about making a film too,
Mm.
which
Of
I
course.
just really love that movie. And Bullets Over Broadway was a big influence for this.
Wow. Crazy. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Um, I started off making rock climbing films when I was a teenager. I was
Wow.
a rock climber, and that was my passion. So I got into rock climbing documentaries, and that was sort of my film school, just learning through doing. And I did that for 10 years, um, hanging off of cliffs, filming climbers, and then going and sitting in a room for months editing. So that was my film
Excellent.
school, and then I transitioned to like music videos and commercials a little bit in LA.
Mm.
That was super fun, but it was always this burning dream in the back of my mind to make a movie.
Make a feature. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. So were you based in LA always, or do you have roots on the East Coast?
No, I grew up in Georgia,
Wow.
and yeah, grew up in Georgia, and then went to school in Colorado, and
Wonderful.
yeah, didn't yeah, been in LA 20 years or 15 years now.
Wow. We listed you as Glenvale, New York. Is that where the producer is, I guess, or?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
gotcha.
New York producing team.
Gotcha. How did you hook up with them?
Um, I probably emailed 200 producers through
Wow.
IMDb, just looking up producer contacts at IMDb Pro, sending out cold emails.
Crazy.
And of those 200 emails, maybe 30 responded, and had meetings with, and it fit with this New York team.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Morgan, go ahead, Morgan.
Yeah, so you talked about like how you like started with your filmmaking roots. I was wondering, did your experiences when you were like first making films, do you think that that like influenced like your writing of the film and how like Bucky was portrayed?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. No, I see. Yeah. I was basically Bucky, when I was 15. I
Mhm.
feel definitely channeled a lot of that young, passionate filmmaker energy. And just being like you were saying, Morgan, just grabbing a camera, going out with friends and being all scrappy and trying to make something, you know? So yeah, definitely channel that. And then a lot of people have said the same thing to me, like, oh, that was my youth as well.
Yeah, that Spielberg connection, just got to make the films, and it doesn't, no obstacle will get in the way. That's what the kind of films we like to champion. We're ultimately a humanist festival, but we really like to celebrate cinema and the making of films as much as we can. So I think the meta aspect of your film, I think, was the initial lure to the jury. I didn't see your film until after it was selected. And, the juries usually are really, really pretty picky. And I think all of them gravitated and liked your film. So I think you've got a lot going for you. You're up for Best Feature. So you never know what the future holds. And
Yeah.
I wanted to say, I don't know if you're able to come to the screening. I was wondering if we could drag you out East Coast. I don't have any funding, but we'd love to have you. Or maybe there's representatives that live in New York that can come.
Yeah. Yeah. It might be logistically hard, but a lot of the cast and crew live in New York City. So
Cool.
I think, I think Logan and Emma might show up.
Oh, good, because we're
Yeah.
really close to the New Brunswick train station, which is literally an hour from Penn Station in New York City by train. And, we can pay for their travel going back and forth. So
Oh,
that
nice.
that's definitely something we should talk about more. But okay,
Yeah.
now comes the fun time. We got to share screen. And by sharing screen, I've got to move this guy up first. Otherwise, it's not going to show. And then I've got to switch over to that. And let's see, how are we going to do it? Very strange. All of a sudden, everything goes crazy. I'll do it one more time. That's better. All right, folks. So when you come to our website, which is njfilmfest.com, this is our homepage, and this is the actual building that we screen our movies in. It's an academic building, which is based at Rutgers University. It's a big kind of square that used to be an echo box, but I was involved in the renovation of the space, made sure it had soundproofing, graded floor, as well as nice cushy seats and high definition projection. And so this is where you're going to come. When you get to our website, though, you want to click on current events. That bounces you down one slide. And you absolutely want to click on the red button. This is just basically a placeholder, because in the past, everything would have been here. But because of COVID and the fact that we're now partnering with a streaming service, we've now based our website over at Eventive, which is who provides the streaming services for us. And so this always opens up at the catalog page, which is where you can buy tickets. And this is the slide for All You Need Is Blood, and you would hover over pre-order now or learn more to get more information. And if you've never purchased a ticket for our festival, you'll need to register, which takes about 25 seconds. And then you'll never have to do it again. And you can buy tickets to all of our shows. So you can scour around and see all the other wonderful movies that we're showing. You go back to the festival site and it brings you to our welcome page. And this is where you're going to get basic information about the festival. But those 5 red buttons, you should push each and every one of them, because they all have different sorts of information that you'll find helpful. And this basically has driving directions, where you can park. If you are going to drive, you can register with the university and park in one of their lots for free that are available to our patrons. Once you're done scoping out the welcome page, then you go back to the top and you click on schedule, and you can go through the entire schedule linearly, with each program being divided by a red line that has a date and time and if it's in person or online. We had a number of films we didn't have the room for in person, so we're just showing them online. But we're showing your film on the 14th, which is on a Saturday evening, and it'll be in person at 7 p.m. and online for 24 hours. You're on the West Coast, so what it'll say is Friday at 9 p.m. is when it will start, because it's 12 midnight Eastern time when the video on demand clock begins. So it's a little bit loopy for the folks out on the West Coast, but it ultimately makes sense. And if you read the description in the welcome stuff, it says when the films begin. Video on demand start times at 12 Eastern. All right, so then you click on the film guide and you click on All You Need Is Blood, and you get a little blurb about the movie, and you can also buy tickets this way. And if you go to, let's see, go back to menu, you go to welcome, you want to see everything, or you want to see 2/3 of all the films, you want to get an all access pass, you'll save money. It's about half price. Each individual program is $15, and that includes the in-person and the online component, which means that if you have some of these crazy people, they watch the movie during the day, and then they'll come in the evening and watch it on the big screen and interact with the filmmaker or the cast and crew whenever they're there. So we do have a handful of people that do that, and it's a really wonderful perk. So you get a lot for the $15. It's not just for one or the other. So anyway, I wanted to say thank you to Cooper for hanging out with us for the last half hour. We really look forward to showing your movie. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys for supporting the movie. Really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, Morgan, also, as usual, for asking great questions. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Bye, Morgan.